Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, the 13th of August. So today, little deep conversation I'm going to have with you. I'm going to be a little deep in my thoughts and about success and getting knocked down in life and getting back up. So bear with me because I've got a lot of thoughts. Yesterday, sorry about the video. Yesterday was recorded, and I had to take my mother to the hospital for a minor procedure. Everything's good, but I recorded the video yesterday, the day before, and I got caught up bringing my mother to the hospital, and I forgot to, to post it before noon, so it got in there later. But while I was sitting there at the hospital during the day, I was coming up with the topic for today. And I was in deep thought. When you're sitting there contemplating life and you're at a hospital, seeing people in and out, and you're seeing people have procedures and families and good things and bad things. I was, spent my time, working when I'm waiting for my mother, working, watching, seeing what's happening in other people's, not eavesdropping, but I could tell what's happening with other people and the people that they're waiting for, and I saw some good things and bad things that were happening to people, and I just got in a deep thought, and this is where this topic came from. So I'm going to start with is that, and I have some notes that I've written down, so I'm going to look at my notes too, is that everybody that is successful in life, in anything, what I mean by successful, anybody that's happy in life will tell you all the times that they've been knocked down and their failures, setbacks, and all of that. Now I'm going to take this later. I'm sorry. I'm 51 years old. God willing, I have decades and decades more. I feel like I'm midlife now. But when you're sitting at a hospital and you're seeing people, and later in life, I'm thinking about, I've been knocked down in my life, but how many more times probably in my life I'm going to get knocked down again? And how many times am I going to get up every day or every time those things happen? So to all of the people, and I'm going to sound old here, all of the younger agents or people watching this, if you don't have those knockdown things in your head, spoiler alert, no matter where you are in your life, there's going to be times. It's going to happen. There's going to be times, setbacks, failures, things out of your control, the market, relationships with other people. Your current situation now, no matter how almost old you are, if you're 20 years old, 80 years old, 50 years old, wherever you are, your current situation right now, good or bad, is not your future. I mean that in a good and being careful way, because your future could be better, your future could be worse, but it's a life by design. What are you going to do and where you're going to be? So next I'm going to quote that I used it on my Facebook post. One of my favorite quotes, and a movie quote, is from Rocky 25. I forget what Rocky it was when he's talking to his son. But basically the quote is, and I'll read it, the part of the quote, and I have it right here on my computer here, is that, and I'm saying how Rocky said it. It ain't how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. So when you're in business, when you're especially real estate business, if you don't get knocked down, my opinion is you're not risking enough. Not just risking money, but risking your time, risking your effort, risking the amount of people you call and prospect to and network with and door knock with and sending mailers and building your sphere, all the things you're doing. And knockdown could be little knockdowns. How many of us, raise your hand, been in real estate, how many of us work with buyers for months and months and months and months and months, and get knocked down, they decide not to buy. They buy a for sale by owner. They use another agent. They decide something happens in their life. They're gonna remodel their house. That's a small knockdown. So the knockdowns that I'm talking about could be small, could be large, could be, you know, business shattering. My life, not to go into specifics, but being a business owner for over 23 years and having different business models of several offices around the state and different agents and staff and different markets and real estate and investors and partners and this, then my knockdowns financially and business wise, big compared to others. But I always had the vision, I'll stick with the business side of things, that time, now I'm going to go into time. Some people, success is a timeline. For some reason, my timeline is always wanting it to go up. I always want success to go up or plateau. I don't want to go down at all. Do you follow me? I want to, and the best thing about real estate, you can do this forever. I don't find a time in my timeline of stopping doing what I'm doing. But if you have that, if you want to retire someday and you want to give up 100% of what you're doing now, where's your success going to be? What I mean by success, where's your financial success? Where's your personal happiness in relationships with a spouse or your family or friends? Where do you want to be? I always want to be the best. I'll go to health. Where's your health want to be? I know many people out there, I'll just say 50s, 60s, and I'll say any things that are out, and I'm going into health. I'm sorry, I'm getting off the topic of real estate, but I always view, outside of my physical health, that I'm going to do everything that I can to be healthier every year of my life. So I hope, outside of my control and what God does for me and my health that I can't control, is that I hope that when I'm 6 years old, 7 years old, 80 years old, that I am doing things better every year for my own personal health so I can live the best quality of life. I know people today, and many of you might be watching this, that you're looking back and going, 20 years ago, I was in a lot better shape. 20 years ago, I used to do more things that were healthy for me. I used to exercise. I used to eat healthier food. I know when you're 20 to 50, a lot different physically. But what are you doing today physically that are you doing things worse for yourself? What you're eating and drinking and what you're exercising than you did 20 years ago? Because you can control that. My personal life, just to go into that and why I talk about it, is that I today, my health, what I'm doing physically with my health is better than it was when I was 20 years old. When I was 20 years old, right now when I was in my early 20s, I'm not at my perfect weight, but I'm 80 to 90 pounds lighter today than I was 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. Yeah, it's 30 years ago. And it got worse and better, but I'm better than I ever have in the last, say, 20 years. And I want that to get better. That's how I view my business, too. I want my business to go up or plateau. I don't want it to go down. I don't want my relationships with my friends, my family, I want it to go up. So things are going to get knocked down between personal life, with your business life, with your health, things that you can't control. But you should be designing that and thinking of that as where do I want to be 5 years from now? Where do I want to be 10 years from now? Where do I want to be when I retire? I know people right now that are retired that to me I'm sorry, I'm just going, that's why I said it was going to be a deep conversation, that it was sad because they're at home, they're thinking about all the great things they did 15 years ago, 20 years ago, all the things that they used to enjoy that they can't enjoy now that they're retired because maybe financially, maybe health-wise, maybe situational, geographically, they're not in the near the things that they want to do, and they're not successful as being happier at that time than they were 20 years ago. They're looking back. I don't want to look back. I don't want you to look back. Where do you want your success to peak? Where do you want to be your happiest? Do you want to be your happiest now, and then 20 years from now you're not? You're like, oh, I was so much happier 20 years ago. 20 years from now you go, wow, I used to have such great relationships with a better relationship with my spouse or my kids or my friends. 20 years from now, do you want to go, wow, I used to have more savings 20 years ago. I used to be more financially stable 20 years ago, and now I'm not. I'm living on a fixed income that the government gives me. Where do you want your success to be? The success of all of those aspects? Because as you build that, your life by design, you're going to try to plan that. You're going to think that if you're being successful now, like you're happy, great. You're having great relationships, great. You have a wonderful relationship with your spouse, great. You have the finances, the income coming in, the savings, great. Your health is doing well. You're in shape, or your health is well. Your blood pressure's good. All your blood tests are coming back great, and you go to the doctor and they're like, you don't need to do anything. Great. But if no matter where you are in life, if you have another 15, 20, 30 years left, 50 years left of life in you, there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be knockdowns. That's what I was talking about, is the knockdowns. And you got to think about how many times are you going to get back up? How many times are you going to be prepared for those knockdowns? And use all of the past knockdowns in your life as reference of what not to do, what to be ready for. Be ready for mentally, be ready for emotionally, and be ready for those so you can springboard and not fall back as far. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, I'm sorry I'm going on about this. It's Friday, and I got things on my mind on this. It's kind of like when I don't climb mountains, but when you see people climbing a mountain, when you see people climbing, obviously a steep mountain, not just a kind of a walk, they use those things. They hammer that, and of course there's rock climbers out there who go, Tony, it's called this. Hitting those as they climb up a level, they're hitting something. And what always baffled me is how much slack they had on the line that was going to catch them. You ever see those videos, or you saw movies of people falling when they're climbing a mountain? They hit those things in with the rope, and I'm sure there's a reason why. I'm like, why isn't it just as tight as possible there? So if you go up another 6 feet, you only fall 6 feet. But they have all this in there, like fall like 20 feet. But the point is that they did something to catch themselves, to be ready for themselves. That as they grow, as they get bigger, as they climb, they go, I'm going to secure something here to make sure I don't go all the way down to the bottom, because that could be life-shattering, death in actual terms of being rock climbing. But in life, in relationships and happiness and business and finance and health, you got to have those things in place so when you do get knocked down, it's not earth-shattering. You're not doing something where you can never get back up financially. You can never do something that, I'm not going to go into detail. Do something that could ruin a relationship with your spouse or your friends or relatives or your children that can never be rebuilt, or risk something that you can never bring your real estate business back to the level it was, because I see it happen. I've seen it so many times. I've actually, and I've said this in other videos, I've actually watched it unfold on Facebook before. I've seen it. I'm like that. I've seen that that before with many people, their business, things that they're doing. And I'm like, that's going to end with a big setback, and I've seen it. And to all the agents out there right now, I'll leave this. I don't want to keep this on. I'm already going for 15 minutes, but this is the important message I'll give all the real estates now. If you haven't had a setback in your real estate business at all, and you want to do this for a long term, it's going to happen. Right now, more than half of the realtors have not seen a down market. We have most of my agents that have been with, more than half of my agents here don't even understand when I tell them, yeah, there's going to be times where you're going to have to do price reductions on listings 6 months, 8 months. You're going to have to keep these people happy over a long period because there's just not as many buyers out there, and you're doing everything right, and it's going to be hard to sell these houses. There's going to be interest rates at the time that are going to all of a sudden jump up, and then everybody in the market is just going to put things on hold and everything like that. You're going to think the sky is falling. Oh my God, all my buyers that I have stopped looking because the interest rates jumped up, and they're waiting to see if they come back down. Now, I'm not talking 0.25%, 0.5%, or even a whole percent. I'm talking about 2 to 3 or 4%. It will happen in the future. Don't have a crystal ball, but I've seen it happen. And all of a sudden, you see sellers decide not to sell because their house sat for a long time. It happens. It's happened in the 30 years here, but you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for when those happen. So I know 100% that 99.9%, I'll say nothing's 100%, is that there's going to be big knockdowns for all realtors, all real estate as the years to come. Those knockdowns could be the market over a couple weeks, a month, hopefully not a year or longer, but we've seen it happen in 2008, 2009, and then it came, speeding out of that really fast. Right now, we see a great market in certain aspects, bad market in inventory. So things are going to change in the market, but be ready for that. Be prepared for that. And when it happens and you do get knocked down, remember you're not out. As long as there's and going into regulations and things, as long as our jobs and our systems and our way of doing real estate and our independent contractors, there's a lot of things going on like that. That stays the same. We're going to be great. It's 30 years I've been in the business, and there's always been an opportunity for realtors to succeed. I don't see that changing ever. Hopefully it never ever changes, that there's always going to be a real estate market. There's always going to be people buying or selling houses. There are always going to be realtors helping them do that, and there's always going to be opportunity for a realtor or many realtors or a million realtors to get their piece of the pie of real estate out there. It's just when you have those ups and downs if you're going to keep going. Because, now I'll leave you with this, 87% of agents get out of the business every 5 years. I don't want to see you be one of them. I want you to succeed and get to the level where you want to be and stay in this business for as long as you want to be happy with the business. Be happy with your success and the life you've built because of your business. So that's it. I know I was all over. I had so many thoughts in my mind yesterday, and I was going to go even deeper in with things, but it's a Friday. It's Friday the 13th, the start of the weekend. So I didn't want to feel like a Debbie Downer today. So hopefully that gave you some stuff to think about with your own life and being knocked down and getting back up. But remember, on a personal note, I'm here. A lot of I love to do business talk turns into personal talk, and I know a lot of you that watch this I talk to consistently, and our business talks turn into personal talks because it just opens up about what's happening in your life, and I do enjoy that. Some of my agents I talk to apologize for, I'm sorry telling you too much about what's going on in my life and why this transaction is working that, but remember, this is part of overall success, overall happiness, and everything's connected, and I don't mind just hearing your stories and giving you my own personal advice and being one of the people that are giving you advice in life, personally and financially and professionally too. So that's it for today. Have a great day and a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.